All right. Well, thank you so much. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you. I am Dr. Anita C. Powell. You guys know who I am, and those who don't, hey, that was my name. I want to thank you so much for joining in with us, whether if you're here live, thank you for sharing your beautiful, magnificent energy. And also thank you for sharing your beautiful, magnificent energy when you watch the replay. Just want to let you know that we are so very thankful and grateful for you. Well, I am so happy and I'm honored. I am honored. We have a very, very, very special guest, an honored guest. She is my sister. She is my friend. I mean, she is my colleague. She is my mentor. She is my inspiration. She is just so many things to me. And it just gives me so much pleasure to be able to have her on this, our 14th Rare Disease Advocacy, Rare Disease Legislative Advocacy lecture and presentation. All right, so without further ado, I want to read a little something about our honored guest. But first, I want to say thank you so much, Reverend Jocelyn, for joining us today. I said, this is a pleasure. And this is also another beautiful, beautiful sister friend of mine. All right, so without further ado, Josephine wrote, all right. My sister friend is a leader in the breast cancer community. She serves as chairperson of the Susan G. Komen Michigan Leadership Council. She is a Carmano's Cancer Advocacy Program KCAT member and the founder of the Facebook Breast Cancer Support Group, where Hope, HOPE, began. Breast cancer advocacy is our sister's passion. Her background as a physician assistant and 6-year breast cancer survivor allows her the authority for her to share topics on breast cancer awareness in various settings, including healthcare offices, medical conferences, and universities. As an advocate, she connects with newly diagnosed breast cancer patients and follows them along their breast cancer journey as a support person. Josephine is a published author in her book, Josephine's Journal, a breast cancer survivor's story of hope. She chronicled a year of her life going through breast cancer, from diagnosis to survivorship. She received her Bachelor of Arts in Communication Disorders and Sciences from Wayne State University and her Master of Science in Physician Assistant Studies from the University of Detroit Mercy. Josephine resides in Southwest Michigan with her husband, Jim, where they share a passion for travel, bird watching, and classic cars. And my sister, Josephine, and I just want, she's going to share more about it, but this is her book, and you're going to see it again, and she's going to share where you can get it, and maybe perhaps we'll be blessed with her sharing something out of her book and her journals for us. All right. Well, Josephine, without further ado, I'd like to just let you have the floor and talk about breast cancer. And also, I want to say thank you. Thank you so much. This sister here, she did some research on rare cancer just for this presentation. And I love you. And I just want to thank you for doing that, because that's going beyond, beyond the norm. So good, my friend Josephine, thank you so much.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Anita. And thank you, Reverend Jocelyn, for being live. And everybody out there, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I appreciate being here. And as Dr. Anita said, I am a 6-year breast cancer survivor, and I do not take that title lightly. My passion, like she said, is being a breast cancer advocate and sharing breast cancer awareness through my talks. So knowledge is power. The more you know, the more you grow. So I truly, truly believe that. And that's why I do what I do. And, many cancer patients have crossed my path over the past years. I was belonged to the Susan G. Komen organization here in Michigan. I've been with them 10 years. And so I have interacted with so many breast cancer patients, newly diagnosed, survivors, those living with breast cancer, metastatic disease. And, Today, I want to dedicate this talk to one of those wonderful, beautiful sisters that crossed my path about 10 years ago. And her name is Megan Malley. And Megan lost her fight to breast cancer last Monday. And she was a fierce, fierce advocate for metastatic breast cancer. And I revisited her blog post because she wrote about her journey, which was over 12 and a half years. And she chronicled that. And I realized when I was going through her blog posts that today we're talking about the type of breast cancer that she was initially diagnosed with. So I don't believe that that was an accident. We pulled this earlier, much earlier. And I just want to dedicate this talk to her and what we're going to talk about today, which is lobular breast cancer. So I thank Dr. Anita because she made me do, I was spurred on and wanted to do some research, and I did not know much about lobular breast cancer. And, and before I had breast cancer, I had no idea there was so many different types of breast cancer. And it was only once I got that diagnosis and I started researching that I thought, oh my goodness, there are breast cancer, so many different types, so many different treatments, stages. I mean, we're all different, but we are similar. So we're going to talk about that today. And just before I start this discussion, and we can do, like just a regular discussion about this, I just want to stress the importance of yearly mammograms and self breast exams. Become familiar with your breasts. And if you notice any changes at all in your breasts, anything at all, size, discharge, misshape, you feel something different, it looks different, get yourself to the doctor. Always follow your intuition. Okay. Even, if you do not have a family history of breast cancer, that doesn't matter. Okay. Only 10 to 15% of breast cancers are hereditary. The rest, it's anybody, it's any one of us. So I urge you to do your self breast exam. And then if you do not have a family history of breast cancer, here in the United States, the American Cancer Society says to start your screening of mammograms at the age of 40. But of course, if there's anything, like I said, anything abnormal, please get yourself to the doctor. Get yourself, it doesn't have to be age 40. My friend Megan, I believe at 29 was when she was diagnosed with breast cancer. So please follow that guideline, but also it doesn't have to necessarily be, it can be earlier and within that year. If you have that mammogram and then something you notice, don't put it off going, oh, well, I already got the mammogram, I'm going to go again next year. No, get there, because I don't know when my breast cancer, when it started growing. It was within that 1 year time from 2016 to 2017. So, again, I encourage you. I just really want to hit that home. So that's just what I wanted to start the conversation with. But I do also want to start talking about lobular breast cancer. And it's, it's a breast cancer that starts in the lobules of the breast, and that's where the milk is formed. Okay, so so those are the glands in the breast, right, that produce the milk. And so in many cases this type of cancer shows no symptoms. It's not the usual type of breast cancer that we always hear when we say, oh, if you feel something, or I felt something, so I went to the doctor. Not in the case of lobular breast cancer. It grows flat. So it grows flat. And as I did my research, it's saying that it grows in a straight line and it forms a sheet rather than a lump. So that's a difference there. And, sometimes it's not easy to detect on mammogram. So And typically, they said that this type of breast cancer, the person actually finds. As I was reading through Megan's her blog, she said she was getting pains in her breast. But also you notice a thickening because, like I said, it's a sheet. Like I told you, a sheet that's growing on your breast. Those breast cancer cells. So you're going to notice or feel, wow, this is a little thicker. The skin is a little thicker in this area, or there might be a little bit of swelling. Or, there's also nipple discharge, and sometimes an inverted nipple. If your nipples are not facing out and there's a little inversion, that could clue you in that something is wrong. So if you see any of this, feel any of this, again, get yourself to the doctor. And, it can be diagnosed, like I said, by yourself, by feeling. And then also once you get to the doctor, you know, you the he or she will perform a breast exam and then go from there. Mammogram. And like I said, mammogram doesn't always, the research showed that it doesn't always show that. So MRI and ultrasound are good tests to identify this type of breast cancer. So that's what I just sort of wanted to start out with as an overview, Dr. Anita and Reverend Jocelyn. And, we can now have like a conversation about this, and I can talk further into that and a little bit about my own breast cancer.
Okay, thank you so much, Josephine. Yeah, I want and welcome Michelle and welcome Deborah. Welcome, beautiful sisters. Thank you so much for coming and sharing your beautiful energy. I just want to share that, in case someone's asking, well, what makes it a rare disease? A rare disease is described as something that affects 200,000 or less in the United States and 3 million worldwide. It's also called orphan disease. And the reason why so much awareness needs to come into these particular type of rare diseases or disorders, conditions, or syndromes is because that orphan, the reason why it gets its name orphan is because there are many drugs that are not available or treatments that are not available because the insurance companies do not consider them to be enough people being diagnosed to put certain medicines with the FDA and assign these drugs and everything to this particular type of disease, disorder, condition, or syndrome. So that's why it's very important for the awareness, that we increase awareness on this so that this can be, this can be eliminated, diminished, or just even stopped at all. Because there are many people that are not able to afford treatment, medications, and all this because their insurance companies does not recognize it. So therefore, they would have to pay out of pocket. So I just wanted to share that. And there are different types of acts, the healthcare, different types of acts that are being submitted, proposals to legislature to ensure that this orphan kind of thing, just kind of goes away. All right, so Josephine, I want to ask you. So you had mentioned hereditary with breast cancer and many others. So most breast cancer is, are you saying most breast cancer is genetic as opposed to hereditary?
Well, it is part of your DNA makeup, so hereditary meaning, a first degree relative, like your mother, sister, aunt. Those would be first degree relatives that, if let's say, had breast cancer, that you should definitely start getting checked beforehand. So if that is not the case, and just my mother had a half sister that had breast cancer, a half sister, but nobody else within the family, with the exception of now a cousin, unfortunately, that had breast cancer. That so that means anybody else. So like 1 in 8 women will get breast cancer within their lifetime. So, I did not get genetic testing. I'm thinking about it to see if I test positive for BRCA1, BRCA2 gene. If that's the case, then well, we know that I carry a mutation, a genetic mutation, and that is what was the cause of my breast cancer. But I did not move forward with that for my own particular reasons. But now I'm revisiting that. So, so I encourage any woman, 1 in 8, any woman, the two highest risk factors of the greatest risk factors of getting breast cancer are being a woman and getting older. That's all of us. As our age increases, the propensity of us to get breast cancer also increases. So that did I answer your question, Dr. Nita?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I found that interesting too, how, you're revisiting the process to see if it was genetic or see if you carry the genome inside and all that. So yeah, bless your heart. And I don't want to, I don't want to hog the floor, as I say. So if anyone has any questions, oh, there we go, Reverend Jocelyn.
Yes, Josephine was saying this particular type of cancer is a little bit harder to detect. Now, if it's detected, how long do the treatment? How long would you have to? Could it be treated to? Would you be able to recover quick from it, or is it compared to the other type of cancer a much
So
longest? Yeah.
that's a good question, Reverend Jocelyn. And so the question being how long for lobular breast cancer, what's the treatment plan, compared to other breast cancers. So we can't compare breast cancers. We really can't. And each breast cancer is individual. So first, once they take the area out, they have to stage it. So they look at the tissue and they test it and they stage it, and meaning that they have to see how large this area is and whether it has hormone receptors, meaning progesterone or estrogen. And then from there, the doctor needs to figure out what the prognosis and decide the best treatment for you, because this is really specific to you, right? Your cancer. So, and then the staging is a scale. The scale is 1 to 4, and stage 1, 2, and 3 in this type of breast cancer is considered early stage. But stage 4, like I described my friend at the beginning of this talk, describes cancer that's spread outside of the breast to other parts of the body, such as the bone, the liver, the brain. So treatment, however, if you are diagnosed initially at an early stage, or a later stage, would include surgery, radiation therapy, and chemotherapy, and or hormone therapy, oral hormone therapy, depending on what it tests at. So I think I answered that question. Yeah.
Michelle has her hand. Michelle, yes, ma'am.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Yes. My question, I'm Josephine. What would be your advice or steps that you would give to someone that is newly diagnosed? And then I have a part 2 question also. Are there any preventative steps someone can take to maybe lessen their chances?
Sure. Those are good questions, Michelle. Thank you. So if you're newly diagnosed, and I do talk to many women who are newly diagnosed with breast cancer, the first thing is, don't look at, it's a road. And if you look at all of it, meaning surgery, treatment, after treatment, it is long and it is daunting. So what I say is, you live for the moment, like what I did. I knew first I was going to have a lumpectomy. So I'm a researcher, and even though I was a physician assistant, I didn't see I didn't see very many breast cancer patients in my practice when I practiced in internal medicine. So so what I did is I took that, I looked at, okay, I just need to look at lumpectomies now. Let me just research this a little and let me understand it. Of course, your breast surgeon will give you a lot of information. But when you're initially diagnosed, that's what I say. You just look at the piece that you're going through, whether it's lumpectomy, mastectomy, but also what's so important right at that beginning is support. I really encourage people to reach out, have your tribe of sisters, have those people, whether it's family, friends, coworkers, you'll learn as you go through this journey who you can count on, who really is going to be there. And don't be mad because some people don't know how to act. And I mean, people sort of disappeared, some people from my life because I think they just didn't know or understand how they could help. But it's so important to have that support because as you go through this and you have them checking on you and sending you cards or just giving you that support, it just means the world. It really does. Every Friday morning, my cousin who lived in Montreal, Canada, Linda, would send me a note. She knew Friday mornings were my cancer when I would get chemo, and I would look forward. I would be down at the cancer center downtown at Carmanos in Detroit at 7 a.m. and I sure enough would get that encouragement, and it just meant so much to me. So support is so important. And then just trying to stay grounded. You need to be grounded, whether it's in meditation, prayer, those things really help. And so that's what I would do at the beginning of diagnosis. And then as you go on to different stages, then research, listen to your doctor, always have questions. If you have questions when you see your oncologist, and that is very good, and that will help you immensely. The second part of your question was about preventative, and preventative, although we don't know, unfortunately, what causes breast cancer. We do research and we're getting closer, and there's targeted therapies now, which I received because of my type. But there are things that can improve your chances or help. So those things include looking at your diet. I looked at that after, okay, and I went to what is called an integrative oncologist, as well as my medical oncologist. So my integrative medical oncologist, she looked at my diet and also supplements and what would help. And so that was very, very helpful to me. The diet, I looked more into organic fruits and vegetables. Again, we don't know what pesticides do. So again, that would be something, not to do. Also, I looked at everything, my deodorant, what I put on my skin, no parabens. So, I did all that, exercise. They're saying that 150 minutes, I don't know if it increased, but I think it's 150 minutes a week of cardiovascular exercise is going to improve your health. I mean, in all gamuts, not just cancer, in everything, right? And also, maintaining a healthy weight. Obviously, obesity does, sort of hinder getting different diseases. So those would be my suggestions or things that I've done and that I know would help. And now there are no guarantees though, but those are things that could help.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, Josephine. That, your presentation, your content, and delivery, just excellent. It's 8:24 now, so we need to wrap up. And I want people to be able to know about your Hope Group, where to get your book. Now, and before you do that, I want to ask you, because I have other questions. Mm-hmm. So I would love for you to come back and be an honored guest again, so that, so that I'm sure people have other questions for you. Yeah, so if you would you come back? Would you honor us with your
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
Absolutely. Yeah,
all right.
yes.
All right. So so we want to know how to get in touch with you, where to get that wonderful book. It's an excellent read too, by the way, you guys. All right. So Josephine.
This is my book, right? Josephine's Journey. And again, thank you for having me, Dr. Anita. It's a breast cancer survivor's story of hope. And, you know, you can go to my website, which is the https://journey-with-josephine.now.site. So that's my site. And then you can from that site, if you want to purchase my book, it'll direct you. My cancer support group is called Where Hope, HOPE, all in capital letters, Where Hope Begins. And that's on Facebook. And that's a private support group that I put information about breast cancer, some uplifting information, uplifting quotes, just to get you through, And all you have to do is answer a couple questions and I let you in. But like I said, it's a private group. So, people feel more comfortable asking questions, because within this group, most of them are either been through cancer, support those who have cancer. So that's a great group. I have over 300 people. I'm very proud of this group that I have now in its third year. So I'm very happy. We have some speakers as well. So I encourage you to join that as well. And then I also have my email. If you have any questions, you can certainly contact me at Josephine Roach, ROACH 11 at gmail.com.
Well, again, thank you so much, Josephine. Again, with this information, very, very valuable and informative information. And Michelle and Reverend Jocelyn and Deborah, thank you so much for joining us here live on Facebook, Zoom. And again, all of you who viewed this, live, we want to thank you again for sharing your presence, your energy with us, and those who will be watching the replay again. We thank you for sharing your energy with us, and we're very thankful and grateful for you. Well, that wraps up this is the 14th Rare Disease Legislative Advocate Lecture Presentation. And I just want to thank you all for coming, and I hope I know this information was very valuable for you. And come on back when Josephine comes back, because like I said, I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I have 5 questions that I'd like to know. And I'm sure you have questions too. And also, if you do have questions that you like to know right away, post below on the Facebook, this Facebook posting, because we can't see your questions here. So just post your questions and I will be sure to give them to our sister friend Josephine so that she can address those for you, okay? All right, thank you so much. We know that the journey in self-recovery is absolutely beautiful, and I hope you know so beautiful, both he and she, so are you. So we are touching on our trust in 2024, that we are human and divine, and within our imperfection, absolutely rest perfection. As you tap into you, I tap into me, we tap into we, because we know there's one love, one energy, and we are all in this thing energetically together. Blessings, peace, and love. Until next time. All right, so now I want to, there we go. Okay.